Did you do that? You have a little accident in the house? Huh? Did you? Where are you going? I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. Welcome back to the channel, guys. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys are social distancing, enjoying your time off. I hope everything is working out well for you guys. It is just a gloomy day out there. That's why little Princess Puggle doesn't like to go outside and get his paws wet. Today I have kind of a fun install for you guys, if I can figure out how to install it. This might be some work. It's I can't carry both. Hold on, let me put you guys down and then go grab this. Oh yeah. Just got this suspension installed. I'm stoked on that. That's pretty sweet. All right, one sec. Oh yeah. All right, before I show you guys this, I gotta get this organized. You guys don't wanna see that. All right, so if you just caught my last video, I just installed some HKS Hypermax coilovers on this, and I need some of the jack stands, I need some of the tools and stuff. I need to get this down on the ground anyway. So I installed the lip and the Hypermax coilover. So I'm gonna get the wheels put back on this and actually see what this looks like with the new drop. I haven't changed the ride height, so the ride height that you're gonna see it at after this is going to be just what HKS sets these coilovers at from the factory. I went through and measured them all, and they're all at the same distance, so everything should be good to go. I don't know what this drop is gonna be like, but I'm gonna get this back on the ground now that I have the front lip installed and the coilovers installed. So hopefully it stops raining at some point so we can get a feel for what these coilovers are like, because apparently they're supposed to be pretty good. And then we can get on to, I don't want to show you, get on to that for the M3. HKS suspension installed, and it is clear that it needs to come down big. big. There's like, yeah, there's a huge gap right there. So that's fine. I'll jack it back up, do the adjustment. If you've dealt with coilovers before, you know this is the name of the game. I mean, I didn't know how they came preset, so you kind of have to lower it down just to figure it out. So now the name of the game is raise it back up, take a measurement, raise it back up, adjust the coilover, lower it back down, do it all over again. All right, boys, so what we have here is Bimmerworld's E36 M3 brake duct cooling kit. So comes with these brake ducts that say you don't have to pull the hub to install, and I think I'm pretty sure I see how these mount. It doesn't look too complicated. Then these look like you will mount these to the tire or the fender lining, and then run part of this hose up into the brake duct possibly. There are different ways to do this, but we'll see how I mean, as long as we're getting cold air from the front of the bumper into the brake rotor itself, and it really, from what I'm seeing, doesn't matter as much how it goes or how it's mounted. Obviously, you want to make sure that you're going to have tire clearance, and that is one thing I think could be a problem for me, because there's not much clearance in there. I'm gonna have to look into that, because I don't know if this is technically supposed to be like a consumable, if this brake ducting is going to be something that I should expect to wear out just due to like debris, tire rubbing, things like that, or if it really should be like no contact at all. I'm assuming the less contact the better, but again, when you have oversized tires on the car and it's lowered and clearance is an issue anyway, it's gonna be hard to do. So do I want to adjust the ride height, or do I want to decisions? All right, so for right now, what I'm gonna do is knock out one project at a time. I'm gonna take a quick little measurement of how far I want this to come down, and then slowly start adjusting the coilovers. And if you've ever seen how coilovers are adjusted before, it's really not that intricate of a process, so I'm not gonna bore you with that. I'll just show you the before and the after. So let's do a solid before. See, massive gap, massive gap. So hopefully the next shot you see will be of this guy sitting a wee bit lower. A little bit more aggressive of a rake. Oh yeah, baby. And boom, just like that, we got her lowered. I mean, it's a pretty good drop. I am planning on running 17s on this, so I don't want to go too much too much lower than that. Plus, I just test drove it and I already rubbed coming out of the driveway. It's really hard not to rub with this car, especially the front lip. It's really, really hard. It's a low car as is, so as soon as you lower it, man, it's really hard to not rub. Once I get the 17s on there, I may mess around with the suspension a little bit, but I have to wait to get my new wheels and tires on there. And I got those sourced, but I can't go get them yet because everything going on. I'm stoked with how this turned out. I mean, again, it was really simple install, really straightforward. I mean, so far it feels good, but I've only driven it around the neighborhood, so can't really comment too much on the feel of the coilovers, but I'm stoked with this. All right, boys, day 2 of the Air-Duct install. You know, I spent most of yesterday lowering this guy, and again, it's not hard to do. It's just with coilovers, you have to raise it up, lower the suspension, drop it down, see how it settles, then raise the car back up and readjust. So it just took some time. I have it where I want it now, so that is good to go. Now I just have to go get the wheels that hopefully I'll be able to get this week, but we'll see because of all the lockdown stuff. But with that being said, it's time to dive into the brake duct cooling, which I have the kit for right there. So first thing is, you've seen me do it a million times, get this car jacked up so I can start taking stuff off and seeing how this is actually going to work, because there are no instructions with this thing. All right, so now that I have the wheel off, probably just gonna go ahead and disconnect the brake caliper and rotor just to make it easier to gain access to the backing plate bolts. So, wish I would have done this before the brake upgrade, but here we are. All right, so if you watch my big brake kit install, you'll know that I took my brake dust shield and trimmed it down to help with airflow. This is before I knew I was getting the brake duct cooling kit. So now what I'm thinking is this is kind of in the way for actually installing the backing plate. So I may just try and figure out a way to remove this. Generally speaking, you'll have to remove the hub or take the hub off, and I don't have a way to do that. So I may try and just cut this somehow. So stay tuned. I'm really trying my best to not turn this thing into a full-blown race car, but success. I think it's a success. I'm not entirely sure if I did anything good. But now we got to see if this backing plate will mount up to this stock location. The only worry is I may have to drill into the backing plate to allow this bolt to pass through it. We'll see, not sure. Backing plate is now on. You can see it cuts off right here. So if you're wondering how to install that, the gap in goes right there, and this will be fine for the big brake kit as well. So that is good. Now the tricky part, I wonder why I wish they would have, oh well, at least it's funneling right there. But now the tricky part becomes being able to route the hose, that stuff, to the bumper somehow to get fresh air and still being able to have enough room to turn the tires. I think in order to proceed any further, now is probably the time to put back on the brake disc and the caliper. And then I'm gonna have to put the wheel back on and really start messing around with the angle at which I turn to see how much room I actually have in there. Do I know if that's the right thing to do right now? No clue. But that makes sense to me. Again, there's no directions with this kit. So, and having never installed brake ducting like this, kind of learning it as I go. All right, so for me, I think what I'm gonna have to do is take off my Turner Motorsport skid plate, because I wanna gain access to this brake duct, and if I wanna take off the bumper, then I need to take off this skid plate. So again, it's nothing hard, it's just little steps like this that take time and add up. So I'll probably take off, I'll take the skid plate off anyway, because I'm probably gonna have to do that anyway for the other side too, so might as well take it off now. All right, so the way this kit works, it really is kind of just you plan it out yourself, you route it out yourself. So what I'm thinking is I'll probably run the hose like right here, and then that will get routed from there. All right, so that will get routed from right there in between the original OEM brake duct and where I mount my skid plate. And then I'm thinking I'll just run it right up to the grill right there, because there's a little bit of room right here. If I don't really want to drill into my brake duct if I don't have to, and there's about enough room to run the piping or the hose right in between here and right up to there. And there's definitely more than enough hose. So I guess the next thing I'll do is drill a hole here so I can mount this in there. And then mount that into the fender liner, I guess. All right, so got that hole drilled out. Now I'm going to try and see how much hose I need to run from back in here, the back of the backing plate to there, and then I'll measure out the hose from the other side to the front of the bumper where I'm gonna route it. All right, boys, so here's what we got. This is all good, all mounted up there. So now what I'm gonna do is work on the other side of this bracket and to see where I want to mount the remainder of this hose to feed this cool air. So we got connected through that plastic fender liner and then running up and right into the vent. And yeah, I have the skid plate mounted, or the skid plate mount point mounted. So now it's just time to put the wheel on and see how much rubbing we get. No way. I just chucked my camera on accident and this thing still works. Awesome. All right, boys, so driver's side complete. Obviously I still need to button some stuff up here, but for the most part, driver's side complete. It does rub when you get to one full turn to the right. What I'm told is I'm gonna just need steering rack limiters. I mean, we're rapidly getting close to just being a full race car. But this will definitely help on the track. And then once I get those steering rack limiters, it won't be so bad. I just have to be conscientious about how far I can turn. But now I gotta work on the passenger side. So everything you saw me do on the driver's side, I now have to go do on the passenger side. And if I record all of that over again, it's gonna be a long video. So maybe I'll record it and just time lapse it. But for the most part, this kit is just, you kind of just piece it together. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap this up and then I'll give you my full opinion on this. Passenger side is done. We got the hose ran. Again, this is one full turn to the right or in either direction. So this is one full turn. And I'm probably gonna get steering rack limiters to actually limit how far this can go if I run this on the street. I don't know if I don't know if I mentioned this before, but part of me is thinking about just Part of me is thinking about taking off the inner hoses when I drive around on the street, and then when I want to go to a track day or I have a track day planned, oh man, there's so much dust in here. Then jacking up the car and just putting the inside hoses on. Here's what I mean. These hoses right here are gonna get rubbed like crazy just street driving, especially without steering rack limiters. So I may just take these off and roll around the street without those. They're not hard to put on, and all I have to do is take the tire off, jack the car up, take the tire off, and then just put these on and I'll be good to go. And then I'll have cooling coming from the front right to the caliper or rotor itself. But for the meantime, I may just keep those off. I'm not sure yet. I'll figure that out later. But what I have to do now is just put back on the skid plate, put the wheels and tires back on, and then we're good to go. All right, boys, the Maiden Voyage. So what I'm gonna try and do basically is just go like for a normal drive and just see if I rub. So I'm gonna have to roll the windows down so I can hear this. But basically what I found out is once I make one full turn in either direction is when I start to rub. So I wanna see how often I actually do that. Here comes the first test. Still don't hear anything, but it's easy to go one full turn when you're going slow. So I definitely can't make any U-turns. Oh, that means I can't go that way. Have to make it. It is a 90-degree turn. Let's see how this goes. This is something I turn all the time. I don't quite need full lock. Oh, here's another one though. So these are just normal, everyday, hard left-hand turns, 90 degrees. I think once I get those steering rack limiters in place, it'll definitely make me feel more comfortable because I don't really use a full turn anyway, so I think those will be good. I may just order some. What's today? I don't even know. Let's see. Not quite a full turn. RS7 behind me trying to race. I think what I'm gonna do is take the inner ducting off and just run with that off until I do a track day. I may have already said that. And then I'm probably going to get steering rack limiters. I may have already said that as well. But the one thing I've been waiting on, which has nothing to do with braking whatsoever, but I wanted to include it in this video, are these guys. These are fog light deletes, and I've always wanted to see what these will look like on the car taking off the yellow fog. So, I think now what I have to do is jack the car back up to get those on. I didn't plan this one out at all. All right, boys, so like the rest of my videos, this is all just kind of jumbled together through a couple different days, but got the fog light deletes in. I gotta wait and see what this looks like on the ground. I think I really like this, but I'm gonna have to lower the car down. I also did mess with steering rack limiters, but to be honest, I just wasn't getting enough of the steering rack limited to make it worth running those. With the brake ducting in place, I get about one full wheel revolution, one full like steering wheel turn until I start to rub on the brake ducting. That goes right there. The steering rack limiters that I got would give me about 1.5 turns, so I would still rub and it really wouldn't make a difference. So what I'm gonna do is just run with no steering rack limiters and no ducting on the inside. And then when I have a track day coming up, I'll just put this the brake ducting in and just know that at that point I have basically one full revolution. I did go for a drive. Since I'm just mentally aware of it, it's really not bad driving without having the ability to turn your steering wheel more than one full revolution. I could see in like parking lots would be a big pain in the butt. Doing like a U-turn would be impossible unless you want to, I mean, do a half of a donut. But yeah, it would be impossible. So, I mean, it'll be a track day thing, and it's really not hard to do. I mean, you take the front tires off, put the ducting on, you're good to go. So right now what I'm gonna do, since I tested out the steering rack limiters, I got the CV boots back in place, I'm just gonna put the tires back on, drop this thing to the ground, and then give you guys a good look at what the fog light deletes actually look like, and let me know what you guys think. Do you prefer with the yellow fogs or with the deletes? I can't wait to hear your opinion on this. All right, boys, so what do you think? Are we thinking, it's hard to really tell. So the car's kind of dirty, but are we thinking fog light deletes or yellow fogs? I'm kind of digging this fog light delete. Now keep in mind, obviously the paint's not gonna match perfect. Reason for that being, the paint on the car is, who knows, 25 years old. If we think the car has been repainted at some point, then it may be a little newer, but it's still really old paint, right? And the paint that's on the fog light deletes is brand new. So it's not gonna match perfect. Obviously the other paint has some fade, blah, blah, blah. But for what it is, I'm kind of digging the deletes, just the solid blue look. I think that looks sick. You know the drill. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about this, because I really want to hear your opinion. Are you yellow fog light guy or fog light delete? Let me know in the comments. I think that's gonna do it for this one, guys. It's, you know, it's been kind of it's hard filming when you have all this stuff going on. I don't really get everything done in one shot, so it's day after day, so I apologize for kind of the choppiness of this, so to speak. But we accomplished brake duct cooling. Ones attached to the bumper are still in. You can see those right there and right there. Those are in there. Those are gonna stay there. Those are gonna live there. The backing plate to the fender liner, fender wall, fender lining, that's going to have no brake ducting until I have a track day. And then I'll just slap one of these pieces on and it'll literally take 5 minutes. So super easy, and it'll be a super good upgrade for the car for track. And then, like I said, we tested out the steering rack limiters. They just didn't really work. They didn't limit it enough. So I think this is a good compromise between street and track. I can still drive it on the street. Brakes are amazing on the street. Everything's good. Then when I need a little more cooling, I'll slap those on for the track. Good to go. So if you're new to the channel, guys, smash that subscribe. I got more stuff coming up with the E36 that I actually just ordered. We got those wheels that are gonna be put on this car now that it's lowered. And I may have found some spoon calipers. Not sure yet, waiting to hear back from the guy, but that would be sick because That would really, man, brakes on this, on the S. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Smash that subscribe, guys. I will see you on the next video. Peace.